Hi, my name is Simon Lam. Today we're going to do the fourth installment of the 10 10 10 10 10 series. We'll cover from 2005 to 2015. So during this part of my career, there's a few milestones that I'm going to talk about. First, namely that I've joined a new gallery in Brickfields, and we did our first group show. It's called 18 at 8, and it's also her first show in the new space. So that charts off my long relationship with this gallery. When the gallery was really pushing internationally, we did the first art show in Art Stage Singapore, and then continue. I think that was one of the proud moments during that period of time was to present my solo show at Art Basel, and I did this project called Coma. Coma is the short for Compendium of Malaysian Art. I think that taught me a lot. Taught me a lot about humility, taught me a lot about working together. The premise of the show was quite simple, but it was very difficult to execute. I had this whole vending machine that could fit about 500 small artwork, and I rallied all my fellow Malaysians. Anyone that has resided in Malaysia for more than 5 years and producing art, they would give me a piece of work, and I could smuggle them into the fair. Because it's such an international fair, I want to bring as many people in. And now 500 people that has a slot to go in,
Only I think about 38.
decided to join me on this. I was having a huge headache with the gallery saying, how are we going to fill in? And as much as important as the presence of the people in the vending machine in the show, it also speaks volume about the absence of people that are not being in the show. That sums up about trying to get everybody in it. And I learned from then onwards it's so difficult, and also it proved to be a huge obstacle to get people on board to see your vision. No matter how noble it seems to be, there's always a sinister underlying about your intention, about getting everyone on board. So I say I'm really humbled by the experience about people that are not participating. More so that people, and I'm still thankful that people that actually give me their precious artwork for the show. So I think it was juggling a lot of stuff. I think the previous video was talking about transition. So now it's really go time. I've known the scene, been there a few years, and I felt this segment is like taken a huge bite into the art scene, knowing people, knowing when to go. There's a lot of things that was involved in the next set of Bollywood. When I look back at the CV, there's a lot of local shows, and there was also a lot of international shows. And the gallery was really pushing outward. It was the most exciting time. I totally neglect the other milestone. I have ballooned up. I looked really unhealthy. I was just huge. And health, well-being was sidelined, I think, and it was all about working. I think the artwork was looking really aesthetically pleasing, but the artist wasn't. And I always joke when people look back at those pictures, that's my other brother, that's my cousin, that looks vaguely similar. And sometimes I don't even recognize myself. I was working for my solo show called Together Alone. It was huge paintings, gargantuan things. I think measuring about 8 feet by like 12 feet wide. That was really a wake-up call. I know I wasn't fit enough to do those works. At times I need to climb up stairs to get to the top part of the work. So I took heart to that, and I started my fitness regime. I started something very simple that we don't need a lot of equipment, started running. As the work got bigger, I'm glad my hard work paid off. I got smaller. So that was the byproduct of making big works, and also in the zone that you know that you can't go on like this. Took stock of what's happened. Second notable milestone is I got married. So in this part, I'm going to talk about getting married and what it means to stay in a marriage. It really changed me as a person. Always been doing things by myself. And even till today, I still carry that mentality. And having someone with you, committed with you to see things through. So I think marriage is really important for me then. And it's also about ticking a box. I think I was trying to do it all, possibly to tick all the boxes that you're married, you have a kid, and you want to be a successful artist. I realized now, not then, that something really have to give. I'm not perfect. There's a lot of things that I have dropped the ball many times. And the third milestone that I'm really proud of, I always call them my masterpieces. The birth of my two daughters, Andrea and Ashley. Both of them are born in the year 2006 for Andrea and 2008 for Ashley. Why is it important? I think that it's really not game changer. It's more like a life changer for me. I think throughout the years, right, I've incorporated them in my work, getting them involved in the work. For me, it's always about taking a picture, but my way of taking a picture is making a painting of them. Because they grow up too fast, as I say, and it's true. So every time I look back at the series that I made with them, or made for them, or made of them, it really captures the time that I spent with them. Something that I sorely lack sometimes, because how do you juggle? I was just juggling. I was having a new, I was a husband, I was also a father, I was a son, I was an artist, I was an educator. So all these things, right, it's just like throwing two more balls, you're juggling. And the fourth highlight, I think quite memorably, is my collaboration with Nippon Paint. And they have been such a cornerstone in my color choices, given endless amount of color choices that their paint could provide. I think that also shaped. When I was starting off, it was very difficult, it was very expensive to buy tubes of paint from an art material store. And then when Nippon Paint came about, it started me using their paint first, those 1 liter bucket. And before I know it, I was using extensively a lot of their paint. And I approached them saying that, hey, we could do this, how about we could start something, and this whole series is using Nippon Paint, and they're really on board for this project. And little did we know, we spent almost a decade long working with them, and I'm really grateful for that opportunity to have taken place. When people say they don't have any regrets, everything is perfectly done, I don't want to look back. I do, I have. That makes me human, that makes me fallible. When you look through all this series, when I look back at what I've captured, I felt that as much as I want to share my success with you, I also want to share as much failure, and I think I managed to. Because when you go through life linearly, and when you look back, you could compartmentalize everything. But when it's happening, then when it was happening, you don't really see that. You only pick up spots, markers, milestones that you want to talk about. And memory is a very hazy thing. Also, maybe because that's one of the many reasons that we are doing it today, capturing all that. Because I don't want to forget. As I go older, I know I'm going to not remember things. I'm not going to remember the right things. I'm so glad I got my artwork, I got my kids, I got things, events that prove that it actually happened the way it did. And everyone has their own vantage point of looking in the back. So as much as I look back, I'm also very much grounded in the present, so I'm going to try to capture as much as I could, truthfully and also honestly, the way I remember it. Yep. I think if there's one word to summarize this 10 years, it would be fallible. I was really egotistical about getting things my way, ticking all the boxes. I feel like fallible meaning that I did fall, falling, but also amidst all this darkness, right, I think there's also this light that I managed to pick myself up, or the artwork managed to pick me up, and we mossed along, gathering steam into the next 10 years. So I look forward to sharing with you the next 10 years.